There's a world we don't notice, hidden in science, biology, and space. But today, you'll uncover it. 100 facts you won't be able to look away from. The world's largest living structure is the Great Barrier Reef, stretching over 2,300 kilometers off Australia's coast. It's visible from space and composed of billions of tiny organisms called coral polyps. Unfortunately, due to climate change and coral bleaching, about half of it has died in the past 30 years. Glass is actually a supercooled liquid and behaves like a very slow-moving fluid. This means old cathedral windows, when looked closely, are often thicker at the bottom than at the top. Although the process is imperceptible, gravity causes the glass molecules to rearrange over centuries. The Eiffel Tower can shrink by up to 15 centimeters in cold weather. Since it's made of iron, temperature changes cause it to expand in summer and contract in winter. This thermal flexibility ensures the tower remains stable and structurally sound year-round. A single bolt of lightning contains enough energy to power a 100-watt light bulb for nearly 3 months. Temperatures inside a lightning channel can reach 30,000 degrees Celsius, about 5 times hotter than the surface of the sun. These intense conditions create a shockwave that produces thunder. Human bones are 5 times stronger than steel of the same weight. That strength comes from their composite nature, a mix of collagen, adding flexibility, and calcium phosphate, providing rigidity. Despite their hardness, bones constantly remodel themselves through the work of osteoclasts and osteoblasts. The deepest part of the world's oceans is the Mariana Trench, plunging nearly 11 kilometers below the surface. At that depth, pressure is more than 1,000 times greater than at sea level, equivalent to having 50 jumbo jets pressing on your body. Yet creatures like the amphipod Hirondella gigas thrive in complete darkness. Venus rotates backward compared to most planets. On Venus, the sun rises in the west and sets in the east. Its slow retrograde rotation takes about 243 Earth days, while one Venusian year lasts only 225 Earth days. Scientists believe this rotation resulted from a massive collision in its early history. A strawberry isn't a berry in the botanical sense. It's an aggregate fruit formed from multiple ovaries of a single flower. Meanwhile, bananas, kiwis, and tomatoes are true berries. They develop from one ovary and contain multiple seeds. This surprising fact often confuses food enthusiasts and botanists alike. Seahorses are one of the only animal species where males get pregnant. The male seahorse has a brood pouch where females deposit eggs. He then fertilizes and carries them, sometimes up to 2,000 at a time, until they hatch. After giving birth, he's ready for another brood in just a few days. Mosquitoes are responsible for more human deaths than any other animal. Diseases like malaria, dengue, and Zika spread through their bites and kill hundreds of thousands each year. Despite their tiny size, they've had a profound impact on human history and continue to challenge global health efforts. Elephants use infrasonic sounds, frequencies below human hearing, to communicate over long distances. These low rumbles can travel up to 10 kilometers through the ground and are often used to coordinate movement or signal danger. Scientists discovered this by placing sensors in elephant habitats and analyzing ground vibrations. The moon is slowly drifting away from Earth at a rate of about 3.8 centimeters per year. This affects Earth's rotation and contributes to the gradual lengthening of days. In the distant past, days were only about 18 hours long, and in millions of years, they will grow even longer. The Amazon rainforest generates its own weather system through a process called transpiration. Trees release water vapor through their leaves, which rises, forms clouds, and eventually returns as rain, sustaining the forest in a self-regulating cycle. This delicate system is now threatened by deforestation and climate change. Octopus brains are distributed, with neurons not just in their heads, but also in their arms. Each arm can operate semi-independently, exploring, touching, and reacting to the environment without direct input from the central brain. This gives them extraordinary problem-solving and camouflage abilities. Some turtles can breathe through their butts, a process called cloacal respiration. This ability helps them survive underwater during hibernation in cold environments by absorbing oxygen directly from water. It's a rare but fascinating adaptation found in species like the Australian Fitzroy river turtle. Raindrops aren't teardrop-shaped. They're more like hamburger buns. As they fall, air resistance flattens their bottom and causes the top to bulge. Only very small droplets remain spherical due to surface tension. Crows can recognize human faces and even pass this knowledge to other crows. In experiments, they held grudges against researchers who captured them, warning their flock about those individuals later. This shows their intelligence and social memory are highly developed. The human stomach gets a new lining every 3 to 4 days to prevent it from digesting itself. Gastric acid is strong enough to dissolve metal, so the stomach constantly regenerates to avoid damage. Without this process, ulcers and internal damage would be far more common. Some trees can talk to each other using underground networks of fungi called mycorrhizae. Through this network, they send chemical signals, sharing nutrients, warning of threats, or even helping nearby saplings grow. This has been described as the wood wide web. The blood of horseshoe crabs is blue and vital to modern medicine. It contains a substance called LAL that detects bacterial contamination in vaccines and IV drugs. Every year, biomedical companies harvest it and then release the crabs back into the ocean. Jellyfish don't have brains, hearts, or bones, yet some species have existed for over 500 million years. They rely on a nerve net and simple sensory organs to navigate the oceans. Some deep-sea jellyfish can even generate light through bioluminescence to attract prey or confuse predators. The fingerprints of koalas are so similar to humans that even under a microscope, it's hard to tell them apart. Forensic scientists have found koala prints at crime scenes that confused investigations. Their unique prints likely evolved due to their need for grip and dexterity while climbing trees. Antarctica is the driest, windiest, and highest continent on Earth. Despite being covered in ice, it receives less annual precipitation than the Sahara Desert. The interior is a polar desert where snow almost never falls, and existing ice can be thousands of years old. The smell of freshly cut grass is actually a distress signal. When grass is damaged, it releases compounds called green leaf volatiles, which signal nearby plants to activate their defenses. What we perceive as a pleasant, fresh scent is actually a chemical SOS. The eyes of mantis shrimp can detect polarized light and see more colors than humans, including ultraviolet. Each eye operates independently and has up to 16 types of color receptors, compared to our 3. Scientists study them to develop better optical technologies and even cancer detection methods. A leap year isn't simply every 4 years. It's more complicated. Years divisible by 100 are not leap years, unless they are also divisible by 400. That's why 1900 wasn't a leap year, but 2000 was. Sloths move so slowly that algae grow on their fur, which helps camouflage them from predators. This symbiosis benefits both. The algae gains shelter, and the sloths gain stealth. Some scientists even believe sloths eat the algae as a nutritional supplement. Venus is the hottest planet in the solar system, even though Mercury is closer to the Sun. Its thick atmosphere is rich in carbon dioxide and traps heat through a runaway greenhouse effect,
with surface temperatures around 470 degrees Celsius. This makes Venus hotter than a pizza oven.
Some frogs can survive being frozen solid during winter. Their bodies enter a state of suspended animation, where the heart stops and blood turns into ice crystals. In spring, they thaw and resume life as if nothing happened. Giraffes have the same number of neck vertebrae as humans, 7, but each one can be over 25 centimeters long. Their long necks help them reach tall trees for food and spot predators from afar. Despite their height, giraffes sleep less than most mammals, sometimes only 30 minutes a day.
Saturn's density is so low that if you could place it in a large enough bathtub of water, it would float. Although it's the second largest planet in the solar system, it's composed mostly of hydrogen and helium, making it less dense than water. Its beautiful rings are made up of ice, rock, and dust, constantly shifting in delicate balance.
The human nose can detect over 1 trillion different scents. This impressive ability comes from around 400 types of scent receptors working together to interpret complex smell combinations. Even subtle differences in molecules can produce entirely different smells, like how cilantro smells fresh to some and soapy to others.
Fireflies produce light through a chemical reaction called bioluminescence, involving luciferin, oxygen, and enzymes. This light is nearly 100% efficient. Almost no heat is lost, unlike traditional bulbs. Fireflies use this glow to attract mates, communicate, and ward off predators with warning signals.
The M's in M&M's stand for the surnames of their inventors, Forrest Mars and Bruce Murray. During World War II, they created candy-coated chocolate that wouldn't melt in soldiers' hands. This invention became so popular that M&M's are now sold in over 100 countries. Some cats are allergic to humans, though it's rare. Just as people can react to cat dander, cats can sometimes develop sensitivity to human skin cells, perfumes, or cleaning chemicals. Vets usually diagnose this through skin irritation and sneezing in indoor-only cats. The color of a chicken's earlobe can often predict the color of its eggs. Chickens with white earlobes typically lay white eggs, while those with red earlobes usually lay brown ones. This has no effect on nutritional value, but it surprises many people. In space, astronauts grow up to 5 centimeters taller due to reduced gravity. Without the pressure of Earth's gravity, the spine elongates slightly, creating a temporary height increase. However, once they return to Earth, their height returns to normal within days.
The heart of a blue whale is so large that a small child could hypothetically crawl through its arteries. It weighs around 180 kilograms and beats only 5 to 6 times per minute. During a single beat, it can pump over 200 liters of blood through the body.
Humans glow faintly in visible light, but the glow is 1,000 times weaker than the human eye can detect. This phenomenon, called biophoton emission, comes from chemical reactions inside cells. Special cameras can capture this glow, revealing patterns linked to metabolism. Peanuts aren't nuts. They're legumes, like beans and lentils. They grow underground and develop in pods, unlike tree nuts. This classification matters for allergy research and agricultural cultivation methods. Cows have best friends and get stressed when separated from them. Studies show that their heart rates increase and they vocalize more when isolated. Keeping bonded cows together improves their well-being and even increases milk production. The tongue is the strongest muscle in the human body relative to its size. It performs hundreds of subtle movements daily, helping us speak, eat, and express emotions. Despite its flexibility, it's also one of the fastest healing parts of the body. Tomatoes were once thought to be poisonous in Europe. Their acidity caused toxic reactions when eaten off pewter plates, which leached lead.
This misunderstanding persisted for centuries before tomatoes became a staple in European cuisine. The first computer programmer in history was a woman, Ada Lovelace. In the 1840s, she wrote algorithms for Charles Babbage's early mechanical computer. Her notes included the concept of a machine manipulating symbols rather than numbers, an idea far ahead of its time. An adult human body contains enough fat to make 7 bars of soap. This surprising fact stems from the body's natural lipid reserves, which store energy and protect organs. Historically, body fat was even used in candle and soap production. The Guinness World Records book holds its own world record as the best-selling copyrighted book series of all time. First published in 1955 to settle pub arguments, it has since become a global phenomenon. It's updated yearly and translated into dozens of languages. The human stomach can dissolve razor blades, thanks to its hydrochloric acid, which has a pH between 1 and 2. Though it's dangerous to test, lab experiments showed the blades erode significantly after hours in stomach acid. Still, don't try this at home. Pineapples don't grow on trees. They grow from the ground, emerging from a central leafy plant. Each fruit takes about 18 months to develop, and the plant only produces 1 pineapple at a time. That's why pineapples can be relatively expensive. Some octopuses use tools, a trait once thought to be exclusive to primates. The veined octopus has been observed collecting coconut shells and using them for shelter or defense. This kind of planning and manipulation of objects is considered advanced intelligence in animals. The color red doesn't actually anger bulls. They're colorblind to red and green. What triggers their charge is the motion of the matador's cloth, not its hue. The red color is more for dramatic effect and to mask blood. A day on Earth hasn't always lasted 24 hours. Hundreds of millions of years ago, the planet spun faster, and a day lasted only about 21 hours. Thanks to the moon's gravitational pull, Earth's rotation is gradually slowing by roughly 1.7 milliseconds per century. A single strand of human DNA contains enough information to fill about 1.5 million pages of text. If you uncoiled all the DNA from your body's cells and laid it end to end, it would stretch from Earth to Pluto and back several times. Yet all of this is packed into the nucleus of microscopic cells. The Sahara Desert wasn't always dry and sandy. It used to be a lush green landscape with lakes and forests. About 6,000 to 7,000 years ago, a sudden shift in the Earth's orbit changed weather patterns and turned it into the desert we know today. Ancient cave paintings still show hippos and boats in regions now covered in sand. Bacteria in your gut outnumber your body's human cells by about 1.3 to 1. This microbiome helps digest food, regulate mood, and even influence immune responses. It's so essential that scientists sometimes refer to it as a forgotten organ. The northern lights, aurora borealis, are caused by charged particles from the sun interacting with Earth's magnetic field. These particles excite gases in the atmosphere, producing green, pink, and purple light displays. They're most visible near the poles, but can sometimes be seen farther south during solar storms. Sea cucumbers eject their internal organs to escape predators, a process called evisceration. Amazingly, they regenerate these organs within weeks. This survival mechanism helps them avoid death and demonstrates their remarkable regenerative abilities. The coldest temperature ever recorded on Earth was negative 128.6 degrees Fahrenheit, or negative 89.2 degrees Celsius, in Antarctica at the Vostok Station in 1983. At this temperature, exposed skin can freeze in less than a minute. It's so cold that even carbon dioxide can solidify in the atmosphere. A bolt of lightning can heat the air around it to 30,000 degrees Celsius, 54,000 degrees Fahrenheit, 5 times hotter than the surface of the sun. The rapid heating causes the air to expand explosively, creating the sound we hear as thunder. The flash travels at the speed of light. The thunder follows at the speed of sound. The human eye can distinguish about 10 million different colors. However, we only see a small portion of the electromagnetic spectrum, what we call visible light. Some animals, like bees and mantis shrimp, can see ultraviolet or even polarized light. Some trees can live for thousands of years. The oldest known living tree, a bristlecone pine in California, is over 4,800 years old. These ancient organisms survive extreme conditions and grow so slowly that their rings are nearly microscopic. Platypuses are one of the few mammals that lay eggs. They also have electroreceptors in their bills, allowing them to sense electric fields produced by the muscles of their prey. This helps them hunt underwater, with their eyes, ears, and nostrils closed. The deepest known part of the ocean is the Challenger Deep, located in the Mariana Trench, about 10,984 meters, or 36,037 feet, below sea level. It's so deep that if Mount Everest were placed there, its peak would still be underwater by over 2 kilometers. Only a few submersibles have ever reached this depth. The average human blinks about 15 to 20 times per minute, which adds up to over 10,000 blinks per day. Blinking helps moisten, clean, and protect the eyes. Interestingly, we blink less when reading and more when speaking or thinking. Some species of starfish can regenerate entire bodies from just one arm, as long as part of the central disc remains. This process can take months or even years, depending on the environment. Starfish also have no brains or blood. They rely on a water vascular system to move and eat. The human brain consumes about 20% of the body's total energy, even though it makes up only 2% of body weight. Most of this energy goes to maintaining neurons and processing information, not physical movement. That's why mental fatigue can feel physically draining. Honeybees can recognize human faces in photos using a method called configural processing, similar to how we recognize faces. Despite their tiny brains, they form complex visual patterns and memories. This shows that intelligence isn't always about brain size. Saturn's moon Titan has lakes and rivers made of liquid methane and ethane. Its atmosphere is thicker than Earth's, and it rains hydrocarbons instead of water. Scientists believe it's one of the most promising places to study for potential extraterrestrial life. Your bones are constantly being broken down and rebuilt. Every 7 to 10 years, your skeleton is almost entirely renewed through this process. Osteoclasts remove old bone, while osteoblasts build new tissue, keeping your bones strong and adapted to stress. The butterfly effect comes from meteorology and refers to how small changes in conditions can lead to vastly different outcomes. A butterfly flapping its wings in Brazil theoretically could set off a tornado in Texas. It highlights the complexity and sensitivity of chaotic systems like weather. Some snakes can reproduce without mating through a process called parthenogenesis. This has been observed in captive female boas, pythons, and even some wild rattlesnakes. These offspring are essentially clones of the mother, carrying only her DNA. Dragonflies are among the most efficient hunters in the animal kingdom, with a success rate of up to 95%. Their incredible precision comes from their compound eyes, which give nearly 360 degrees of vision, and their ability to control each wing independently. This allows them to hover, dart, and even fly backward. The oldest known to-do list was found on a clay tablet in Mesopotamia, dating back over 4,000 years. It included entries like bake bread and brew beer, showing how daily life hasn't changed much. These tablets represent some of the earliest examples of written human thought. Some fish can change sex as they grow. This is known as sequential hermaphrodism. Clownfish, for example, are all born male and can turn female if the dominant female of the group dies. This flexibility ensures survival and social balance within the species.
Mushrooms are genetically closer to animals than to plants. They share key proteins with animals and even use oxygen to break down food for energy. Some types of fungi can even breathe and communicate chemically underground. The Eiffel Tower grows taller by up to 15 centimeters in summer due to the expansion of metal from heat. Engineers account for this when designing tall metal structures. When temperatures drop, the tower contracts back to its original height. The immortal jellyfish, Turritopsis dohrnii, can theoretically live forever. When injured or aging, it reverts to its polyp stage and starts its life cycle over again. While this doesn't make it invincible, it challenges our understanding of aging and death. Koalas have fingerprints nearly indistinguishable from human ones, even under a microscope. This has caused confusion at crime scenes in Australia. Evolutionarily, this likely developed to help them grip smooth eucalyptus branches. A teaspoon of neutron star material would weigh about 6 billion tons. Neutron stars are remnants of supernovae where atoms collapse so tightly that protons and electrons merge into neutrons. This creates one of the densest forms of matter in the universe. The average cloud weighs about 500,000 kilograms. This weight is spread out over billions of tiny droplets suspended by rising warm air. When enough moisture collects, gravity takes over and it rains. Bamboo can grow up to 91 centimeters, about 35 inches, in a single day, making it one of the fastest growing plants in the world. It grows by expanding its existing cells, not by dividing new ones. This rapid growth has made bamboo a sustainable building material. A group of flamingos is called a flamboyance. These social birds rely on their vivid color, which comes from carotenoids in their diet. Without enough of these pigments, flamingos turn pale gray or white. The mantis shrimp can punch with the speed of a bullet over 80 kilometers per hour, creating shock waves that boil water and shatter shells. Their claws are so fast, they produce tiny flashes of light called cavitation bubbles. They're nature's smallest boxers and strongest pound-for-pound strikers. Butterflies taste with their feet. When they land on a leaf, sensors on their feet detect if the plant is suitable for laying eggs or feeding. This ensures that their offspring will have an immediate food source after hatching. A full NASA spacesuit costs around $12 million. Most of this is in the life support system and safety features, including radiation shielding and micrometeorite protection. Each suit is custom-built and tested rigorously before being approved for spaceflight. Crocodiles can't stick out their tongues. A membrane keeps their tongue firmly attached to the bottom of their mouth to avoid interfering when snapping their jaws. This anatomical feature helps them maintain deadly precision. Antarctica holds 70% of the world's fresh water, locked in ice. If all of it melted, global sea levels would rise by over 60 meters, flooding most coastal cities. Thankfully, most of this ice is stable, so far. Some turtles can breathe through their butts via cloacal respiration. This allows them to hibernate underwater during winter without needing to surface. Nature finds fascinating ways to adapt.
Tomatoes have more genes than humans, about 31,000, compared to our 20,000 to 25,000. Genes don't always equal complexity. Many regulate traits like color, taste, or disease resistance. This explains why some plants adapt faster than animals.
Sloths can hold their breath longer than dolphins, up to 40 minutes. They slow their heart rate dramatically, conserving oxygen while staying motionless. This makes them hard to detect in the wild.
A cockroach can live for weeks without its head. It breathes through small holes in its body and only dies from dehydration or infection. Creepy, but biologically fascinating.
A single honeybee produces only about 1/12 of a teaspoon of honey in its lifetime. It takes thousands of bees and millions of flowers to create just one jar. This makes honey one of nature's most labor-intensive foods.
The moon causes not only tides in the ocean, but also land tides, where Earth's crust subtly rises and falls. These vertical shifts can measure up to 30 centimeters and are tracked by GPS satellites. We feel it less because it affects entire regions uniformly.
Your stomach gets a new lining every 3 to 5 days to protect itself from its own acid. Without this regeneration, your body would literally digest itself. That's why stomach cells are among the fastest replicating in your body.
Snow isn't white. It's actually colorless. Snowflakes are made of clear ice crystals that scatter light in all directions, making snow appear white to our eyes. It's the same reason why sugar looks white, though it's made of clear crystals too.
Your body emits light, but it's 1,000 times weaker than what the human eye can detect. This bioluminescence is caused by chemical reactions in your cells. Special cameras can capture this invisible glow.
A rainbow is actually a full circle, not an arc. From the ground, we usually see only half of it due to the horizon. But pilots flying above storms sometimes see the entire circular rainbow.
Penguins propose with pebbles. In some species, males search for the smoothest stone to offer a female as a meeting gift. If she accepts, they keep the pebble in their shared nest. Some frogs freeze solid during winter and come back to life in spring. Their organs stop and ice forms in their body, but they survive thanks to natural antifreeze proteins. When the weather warms up, their hearts start beating again.
There's a species of jellyfish that clones itself instead of dying. When injured or old, it reverts to an earlier life stage and starts again. This makes it effectively biologically immortal.
Sharks existed before trees. Fossil evidence shows sharks have swum Earth's oceans for over 400 million years, 50 million years before trees appeared. They've survived 5 mass extinctions.